Hi guys! Looking back to the past 2022, even though I do achieved quite a lot, I still feel that somehow I couldn't tick all the boxes for my New Year resolution. I'm always running short of time. For example, I didn't get enough time to improve myself. I always want to study French. I also want to take some data analysis course or other program. So is it possible for us to have at least 1 more hour free time each day so that we can tick all these boxes, that we can improve ourselves, maintain our relationship, or simply travel to other countries? The answer should probably be a big yes. Well, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite and also game-changing book on time management and work efficiency, written by a Japanese neurologist, Zion Kabasawa. So he himself experienced a huge transformation from a totally burnt out to a condition that he can undertake twice as much as work than before, with almost 4 times of the free time for recreation. Through his research, experiment, and experience, he comes up with a few principles and a few strategies that we can apply to our life from today to increase our work efficiency and eventually increase our free time to pursue happiness. There's no doubt that time is the most fundamental currency to be treated for almost everything we want to do. The way we treat our time determines the whole life trajectory. Since life is all made of time, it also determines the limits on our accomplishment and happiness. The thing is, even though everyone has 24 hours for each day, the output varies from one to another dramatically. So in this video, I'm going to firstly talk about the 3 principles for increasing work efficiency. And then we're going to talk about the 6 tips for implementing all this into practice. Principle 1. Allocate tasks based on how much concentration is required. Even though we have 24 hours for each day, the productivity during different times of the day varies a lot. Usually our brain gets restarted after last night's sleep. However, as time goes by, the functionality inevitably declines during the day. Meanwhile, different tasks require different concentration level. We have this kind of concentration-intensive task, for example, writing essay, writing article, doing proposal. However, we also have more casual tasks like simply replying email, making registration, or organizing files, documents. For instance, if we start our day by simply replying some email, followed with some research work, doing proposal. So at the end of the day, if we want to do some concentration-intensive work such as writing essay, since our brain is already super exhausted, it takes a much more longer time for us to do it, so that we have no choice but to stay up late. Alright, let's see if we choose to do the essay first during the golden time for our brain, followed with research work, doing some proposal. The concentration level of our brain still declines as time goes by, but no worries, since at the end of the day we only have the most relaxing and casual work to do, such as replying email, doing chores, cleaning our room, this kind of thing. So voila, we can see that we successfully finished almost all the tasks we have to do within one day. As we can see, it's just like a puzzle game. If we want to maximize the value of the whole day's time, we must find out the way to minimize the blank space, which means we can avoid working overtime simply by rearranging our work in a more reasonable way. So what are the highly productive time? Usually it's 2 or 3 hours after you wake up, like time coming back from break, couple of hours before you leave in the office, and the day before deadline. If you like my video so far, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe me. Thank you so much. Principle 2. Restart efficiency by sleep and working out. So here is the equation. Efficiency multiplied time turns out to be the work we can finish. So in order to save time, we need to find out ways to increase the average efficiency level. Assume that we can allocate tasks wisely, like we addressed in the first principle. So the surface should be the workload that we can undertake during the day. However, this is oversimplified and ideal, especially under two assumptions. The first assumption, as time goes by, our attention level will just keep decreasing during the day, which is not true. The two simplest way to refresh our brain is either working out, especially doing aerobics, or having a break. Simply by doing some moderate exercise, for example, running 30 to 60 minutes in the late afternoon or in the evening after work, can dramatically increase the productivity for the rest of the day. More importantly, once we develop the habit of exercising regularly, we will benefit from better quality of sleep, which can help our brain to fully recover from the tiredness. It also does incredible benefits to our brain. So the neural network for our brain will become denser and better structured, which means we will be less likely to be distracted during work and more focused. The second way is to take some short break or 30-minute nap, especially before we actually feel exhausted. The second assumption is our brain can get fully restarted at the beginning of each day. Well, the premise for this assumption is our brain gets enough sleep at each night, which is not always the case, because the most common practice for us to cram more work is to simply extend working hours and staying up late. Well, it does make this day's chart look nicer, but it's not a sustainable way at all. Since the next morning when we wake up, our brain is still tired, and it cannot recover to the productivity level as usual. Well, let's do some calculation here. Let's say we work 1 more hour in order to finish more work today, but for the next day, the starting point of concentration level for our brain dropped 20%. So 20% multiply the standard working hours, which is usually 8 hours, equals 1.6 hours, which means we need to work at least 1.6 hours more for the next day to catch up the work to be finished. So we end up working longer by going for the strategy of overworking and staying up late. Well, most importantly, it's not good for your health at all. It has been found out that people who suffer from long-term lack of sleep are under the much more higher risk of diseases such as diabetes, cancer, hyper blood pressure, etc. The third principle is that we need to use the time we saved back to self-investment. Well, let's say we successfully create at least 1 more hour free time for each day, but it's followed by a more important question, which is, alright, what we gonna do during this free time? Well, the answer to this question determines that whether we can make any difference in terms of self-improvement, in terms of becoming a happier person at the end of the day. Here are 3 types of things that we can do within this free time: self-investment, positive entertainment, and simply having fun. Well, let's talk about self-investment first. It's just like the investment in finance. We also have short-term and long-term investment for our time. Short-term investment is to invest in your specialty, your core competitivity, invest to the major work you are doing day in and day out, so that we can deliver better performance within a shorter time. So for instance, if you are an accountant, you can take more course on accounting. If you are a teacher, maybe you go to visit some prestigious school and learn from other professors, other teachers, their teaching method. Well, long-term investment is to invest in some interest or competence that might be benefit for you, not immediately, but in a long term, and something you might not be that good at the moment since you have never been formally educated. So for example, actually for all the people, can take out some time to study a foreign language, to develop an interest. It's also a good opportunity for us to think boldly, start to develop some expertise that we never tap into, so that we can open up more opportunities for our career. For example, I studied advertising and now study communication media, always inside this communication media advertising marketing cycle. But if I do have time and I have interest, how would I start to take a Python course or learning some, like illustration or drawing on iPad, whatever? It will be fun. Well, the second thing that we can do using this free time is positive entertainment. There are basically two types of entertainment, passive and positive. Passive entertainment are those who require no attention, no skills. One of the most typical example can be watching TVs. While positive entertainment can be reading book, playing sports, playing an instrument. All these kind of things requires you to be more positively participant, so that your brain is still under the training. Well, one research shows that around 38% of people tend to feel that life is meaningless after watching television for a super long time. However, the figure for the group of people who play sports is only 16%. If you're really a big fan of TV dramas, you can try to transfer it from totally passive entertainment into a little bit positive by thinking about some outputs. After watching each episode, you can either talk with your friends, share with your takeaways, opinions verbally, or simply writing posts and post it on Instagram or Facebook. The third thing we can do is totally having fun. Yes, the ultimate goal for us to better manage our time is happiness. We can make a to-do list for all the activities we want to do, but sometimes we don't have enough time or resources to do it. And whenever we get a couple of hours, couple of days off, we can just pull out our having fun to-do list to see what else can we do. At the end of the year, you will also feel more accomplishment by telling yourself, by telling your friend that, well, this year, by working more, by improve my productivity and studying more efficient, I managed to tick at least 10 more boxes on my having fun to-do list. Alright, so now let's talk about the 6 evidence-based tips on how to free more time in our life. Technique number 1, how to have a productive morning. Even though scientific proof shows that morning time is a golden time for our brain, however, most of us still feel really sleepy and not energetic at all in our morning. Well, this might be a consequence of low vitality for our serotonin. So apart from taking a morning shower to wake up our whole body and raise the temperature of our body, here are 3 super simple and feasible ways to boost the serotonin in our prefrontal cortex, which are sunbathing, chewing, and rhythmic exercising. So if there is a window in your bedroom, you can open the curtain before you sleep to let the morning sunshine wake up your body before you actually open your eyes. It's also good to eat more chewy foods such as cereals for breakfast. It is also found that the process of chewing can increase the serotonin in your blood. And the last one is simply doing a little bit slow exercise. For example, just walk a couple of minutes on your way to office. Technique number 2, do it right now. According to David Allen, do it right now, the art of stress-free productivity. Anything we can finish in 2 minutes, let's do it right now. For example, when a new email popped up, usually I will start it and thinking about maybe I will just reply it later. However, it only takes around 2 minutes for me to reply the email, but if I do it later, it takes me at least 1 minute to find out this email and then another 2 minutes or 3 minutes to reply it. So for all these kind of small tasks, it just doesn't worth it for us to do it later. Technique number 3, make good use of our hours. Each day we need to spend a lot of time on commuting, on doing chores, on running, on taking shower or putting on makeup or skincare. We can make good use of this time to achieve kind of multitask thing. We can actually enjoy a huge bonus. While I'm doing these about tasks, usually I'd like to keep myself updated with Wall Street news, with BBC News or my favorite YouTube channels, my favorite podcast. It's also a good opportunity for me to learn English or any of other foreign language. Technique number 4, keep your desk organized and tidy. Well, this can firstly stop us from being distracted by random stuff on our desk, and secondly save us from the ridiculous amount of time that we have been wasted on simply looking for stationery, charger, documents, and also the make-up time after interaction. Sometimes I'd like to shift the place to work and go to the library or coffee shop nearby. Interestingly, even though I spend around 30 minutes on my way to the coffee shop, I still end up being more productive at the end of the day. Technique number 5, write down the distraction thought on a paper. Sometimes when I am working, I will keep having this kind of random thoughts popping up in my mind, hovering and never disappear. For example, what should I eat for lunch, rice or noodle? Did I transfer the money for last night's dinner to my friend? Well, the idea is you can get rid of these kind of thoughts by simply writing them down on a piece of paper. This is backed up by the zigzag effect. People tend to remember the unfinished and interrupted task more than the complete one. Imagine our brain is just like a computer, and all these irrelevant thoughts, just like the pages, the programs we are opening in our computer, taking up our CPU. So writing them down is simply a gesture of close up all these programs, all these pages, so that we can working on the thing we are doing at full speed. Technique number 6, the magic of deadline. Why we feel we are most productive just one day before the deadline? Well, this might not be totally illusion. Well, the sense of anxiety created by the limit of time will stimulate the secretion of norepinephrine, which help us to be highly concentrated. Discovered by the German neurologist Emil Kraepelin, efficiency has 2 peaks under the limited duration of work, the beginning and the finishing time. Therefore, it's good to break down our huge tasks into small pieces of work and add deadline for each of them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this video useful, especially to help you crack next year's resolution. Well, I am Yuqin. I am currently a master's student at Sciences Po Paris. I'd love to share more scientific-based strategy and tools on time management, work and study efficiency, as well as how to look for an internship in Paris, for example. So if you are interested in my content, please subscribe me. Thank you so much and see you next time.